Welcome to Black Money Daily, economic news from our point of view. We release a podcast every weekday at lunchtime, so don't forget to subscribe. And now, here's the news. Robocalls about warrants, lies about absentee ballots, and other disinformation is targeting Black voters ahead of Election Day. This is not exactly Black economic news, but we want everyone to be aware and make sure your family and friends are aware too. With days to go until Election Day, there are increasing signs of voter disinformation and suppression tactics targeting Black voters. Just this past week, in Florida, numerous voters in a heavily Democrat county received disturbing emails that threatened them if they do not vote for the current president. At the 10K Project, we don't care who you vote for, but recognize that lawmakers on the federal, state, and local levels do affect how we do business, how we can invest, and how we can build wealth for our families and the Black community at large. Organizers in battleground states like Florida, Michigan, and Georgia are sounding the alarm that scare tactics are likely to intensify in the coming weeks and are flagging voters of color to recognize the misinformation as such. Again, just be aware that this is happening. The CEO of Wells Fargo recently wrote a company memo to employees blaming the lack of diversity in their ranks on, quote, a very limited pool of Black talent to recruit from, close quote. While he subsequently cited unconscious bias, clarified his remarks, and apologized, his comments sparked an opinion piece from the president of Howard University. It has been published on CNN Business. He says, HBCUs represent only 3% of the higher education institutions, yet produce almost 20% of bachelor's degrees earned by Black Americans, and nearly a quarter of all bachelors earned by Blacks in STEM fields. In Silicon Valley, Howard University confronted the myth that there is a limited pool of Black talent in a partnership with Google and Tech Exchange. Highly qualified HBCU students travel to Google HQ and are trained in the hard and soft skills needed for success by Google engineers, many of whom reported that they had never previously worked with anyone from an HBCU in their entire career. Now in its fourth year, the program has already converted many students to full-time employees at Google and other major tech firms. Last year, Howard University created a similar program with Amazon Studios to further demonstrate that we can diversify the C-suites of the entertainment industry by giving our students a real and robust exposure to Hollywood. We're at a unique time in our history when we're able to kick in more doors and show society just how great we are. Jay-Z sparks up a new cannabis brand called Monogram. According to a press release, the brand boasts careful strain selection, meticulous cultivation practices, and uncompromising quality. And it will join Jay's huge roster of company partnerships, which include the NFL, liquor companies, and the streaming media service called Tidal. Tidal has released a Monogram playlist called Sounds from the Room Grow that include popular odes to marijuana, including Kaya by Bob Marley and the Wailers, Brown Sugar by D'Angelo, and Mary Jane by Scarface. Today's show is sponsored by the 10K Project, and we do have an upcoming event. The path to wealth is great health. It's on Monday, October 26th, 6 p.m. Eastern Time. Visit the 10K Project to register. There is no charge to attend. White House Chief of Staff Mark Meadows says, quote, "We are not going to control the pandemic after coronavirus cases hit a record high. Every story and policy about the virus and the election affects Black economics, so let's discuss his comments." He said in an interview with CNN, "We're not going to control the pandemic. We are going to control the fact that we give vaccines, therapeutics, and other mitigations. It is a contagious virus just like the flu. What we need to do is make sure that we have the proper mitigation factors, whether it's therapies or vaccines or treatments, to make sure that people don't die from this," close quote. Based on what Meadows is saying, we as a community need to be prepared for this from a healthcare point of view, from a financial point of view, and from an education point of view with regards to our kids potentially being home longer than we think. Now let's take a first look at the iPhone 12 and the iPhone 12 Pro. iPhones have finally stopped, or at least paused, getting bigger and bigger. This year's phones are slightly thinner, smaller, and lighter than their predecessors. The new flat-sided designs are a throwback to the beloved iPhone 5 design from over 7 years ago. The camera is amongst the most important features to smartphone buyers. So Apple promises that its expanded night mode capabilities will boost low-light selfies or photos taken in the evening, showing better contrast and more details without needing a flash. 5G capability is also a major selling point of the new lineup, but it is unclear whether consumers will truly get to tap into the benefits of the ultra-fast network. Every Monday is Money Monday, and today's tip is from Dave Ramsey. He was asked, what's the quickest way to build wealth? And his answer was your income. When all of your money is going out the door to other people to pay bills, for example, you don't have the tools at your disposal when it comes to important things like saving and investing. A lot of people are having some major never again moments right now in the wake of COVID-19 and all the other stuff 2020 has thrown at us. People are saying things like, never again will I be broke. Never again will I have debt. Never again will I live with no savings to help take care of me and my family. So you need to get your income up in a lot of cases. That's why we at the 10K Project focus on new careers and businesses that people can start and grow. It's an essential wealth building tool in our toolkit. So that's today's podcast. We'd love to hear what you think about today's topics. And don't forget to comment, rate, subscribe, and tell a friend or two about Black Money Daily.